Georgia. She's going to show us how you use the watercoloring stamps to make a lovely background.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little tiny pot, and I'm going to start by using African Violet, number 86, and then right over the top of the African Violet, I'm going to put Sepia, number 45.
And your markers are just watercolor markers from LaPlume, right?
They're just Marvy LaPlume water-based markers. You could also use Tombow.
Sure.
And then I'm just going to take a little bit of the ink out of that area right there. And I'm going to stamp that little baby right there on it. You don't want to push down because you want to keep the you want to go ahead and keep the lines really thin so that you don't pick up a lot of color.
Right.
So I'm using just regular water, and I'm going to start by pulling just from the edges of this outline of this pot. And I want to keep this really, as it comes to the center, I want to keep it really soft. I don't want it to get any darker. I'm going to do that on both sides. Keep in mind that when you're doing this, you can turn your paper because it makes it a whole lot easier sometimes to turn the paper. I pull very well from left to right, but I don't pull very well right to left. I'm just going to pull a little bit of color into the center, and you'll notice I'm leaving a highlight in the center. That's because this is a round object, and when we teach our classes, we teach as if we have a overhead, 12 noon. So you would have a shadow that, you know, as it comes around, it's going to be darker on the edges, and as it comes around, it's going to be lighter, and there's going to be a distinct highlight. So we leave that highlight in there. This is a nice dimensional gray that this African Violet and Sepia makes a nice dimensional gray. Okay, so now we're going to start adding foliage. Our foliage, we're going to use this little line, but I'm only going to use like the top half. 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see that what you're getting is already the distinction of dimension. So then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, add some more on that side. I'm going to turn I like to turn my paper so that I can get the angles that I need, so that I can have what I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now comes the really fun part that makes it a watercolor. So we're going to take our brush, we're going to dip it, we're going to bring it over the lip of the cup, and then we're going to pinch it out so that we have a damp brush. We don't want it too wet. And we're just going to come over and we're just going to dab each leaf. It doesn't have to be perfect. You want to have some light and dark, so make sure that you leave some white in between. Just dabbing, and you want to use the side of your brush. You don't want to stab it. Some of my classes came up with their little mantra, dab, don't stab, which is kind of really fun until you've heard it about 40 times. But it works, because it was stuck in my brain forever. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little filler flower, and we have this cute little circle. It's like a circle of hearts. And I'm going to use this violet number 8. And I'm going to go in a circle now. So we're going to stamp 5 times, but in a circle. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want to keep it fairly tight. You don't want it out. You want it really tight. Go up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then again, we're going to dab. So we're keeping our darks and lights, and we're adding, we're leaving some white. You'll notice my hands are filthy. This is not a clean. I know everybody thinks watercolor is probably the least messy, but as you can see, I'm pinching it off and I'm getting ink everywhere. Now I'm going to add some little, these are our tall flower, and this tall flower is from set number 2 of our florals. And I'm going to do the top of the flower in magenta, and even though it's a long stem, because of the pot, I'm only going to come down halfway, just below that second leaf. I'm going to stamp 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice I don't clean my stamps. So sometimes you'll get a color that's in between because you've done it. I love that. I think it's really cute. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because I like uneven numbers, I'm going to add a 6th one. That's that random thing where you want the number of things to be random.
Get all your little stamps. Just collect them.
All of these stamps are on. So I have all my florals, all 4 of them on my palette. So these palettes actually will hold a lot, and it's a really inexpensive way to store your stamps. And you could do this, I mean, you don't have to do this with only our stamps, you can do it with any clean stamp. So now we have our little bit of water. We never put on our stems, we never put water. We want them to stay nice and sharp and crisp. Now, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. I was a toll and decorative artist back in the 70s. So all of the pots on my porch are toll painted, and they all have a little bit of something on them. So cute. I decorate my pots. Now there's nothing in my pots because I can't keep anything alive. I have like a black thumb. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to make this cute little heart. But we're going to have this beautiful little decorated pot.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to watch Georgia finish this beautiful background, but that was my fault because I tried to get closer and I made it so it was very, very blurry. So I hope that you did learn a little bit about how to make watercolor backgrounds with watercolor markers and your stamps. Well, I hope you enjoyed our day at the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo. We sure had a good time. We learned a lot of techniques, and of course I bought a lot of things. Glad you stopped by. I hope you'll give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.